And we are live, everybody. Just let's talk about everything. Bitcoin, once again, still not the asset to own. Looking at 85 and below in the near term and a medium term. Dixie, I haven't probably emphasized and talked about this enough, but let's open up the pricing of the future cuts that we have. SR3Z 2026. That's what the market is pricing in. The amount of cuts the market is pricing in by the end of the 2026. Let's say SOFR Z December 2026 contract. And we have less than 50 basis points of cuts priced in for the next year, for the entirety of the next year. So 225 basis point cuts, even less than that. If you obviously look and compare this to the Dixie, we're gonna take EURUSD because EURUSD is literally inverse of the Dixie. So we put on this, and you can see the resemblance, right? The correlation is prominent here. What we have right now is a very interesting dynamic, which gives and sets up and provides an interesting opportunity to play on the back of this. As you can see, there is a clear decoupling between the future pricing of rate cuts and the EURUSD, the strength in the EURUSD. If you look at this contract so far, we are negative trend, negative trade. At the same time, EURUSD is positive trend and positive trade. Usually on a trending basis, they are very tightly correlated, tightly knit together. What this sets up for, first of all, we think this contract is incorrect. We think that to some degree, whether he will fire Lisa Cook when Powell leaves the office, Federal Reserve will be extremely dovish and skewed, very, very much skewed to the dovish side throughout the next years. Either he's gonna take Trump is gonna take the complete control of the Federal Reserve, and independence will vanish, and they will just straight up cut rates to where he says he wants rates to be, or they, regardless of that, maybe he takes, well, not the entire Fed under his side, but regardless of that, Federal Reserve will get more and more dovish with time, and this contract is incredibly incorrect. Obviously, it is correct to be pricing in things and to be pricing in less cuts in the short term, for the simple reason that we saw this video that the Powell released regarding the fact that they are suing him, that he's not going to back down, so on and so forth. But Trump, regardless of, or Powell, regardless of what he wants to do, is getting out of the office in May. So the dovishness will soon come, and there will be more than 25 basis point of cuts. So what this sets up for, if we are so correlated in between these things, and when SOFR contract does this, but at the same time Euro does this, imagine what Euro will do when this SOFR contract will inevitably do this, 97, 97.5, 97, 98 at some point, which we think this is what's going to happen. So this sets up for an interesting opportunity here. We do believe that this year is going to be incredibly negative for the Dixie, and this sell America trade, where dollar goes down, rates go up, stocks go down initially, but then stocks go up because they cap yields and provide liquidity, print money, essentially capping yields and debasing the currency. So dollar is lower and lower and lower, going down and down and down this year. Gold is might do another God knows how many percent higher. But Euro, after staying so long in consolidation, will likely touch 125, 130 at some point during this year. So once again, this sets up for an interesting opportunity to be owning Euro here, to be playing Euro on the long side, to buying dips in Euro. So that's what I wanted to say about in here. Metals and commodities still rising, and gold is doing what gold is doing. So it's kind of scary to be honest. But if I, at the same time, I'm looking at where we are in a cycle, in a macroeconomic cycle, political cycle, social cycle, geopolitical cycle, everything points to the continuous deterioration and strengthening of the aspects, strengthening of these things that are supportive for the gold price. Erosion of central bank independence, then cutting rates significantly in the face of, regardless of what inflation or unemployment is doing. The horrific choices and decisions by the current world leaders, and especially social instability. We've didn't really have to deal with social instability, especially in America, for a long time. But it is coming because midterms are coming, and midterms in the latter part of this year, in November, and he just cannot possibly afford to have them at all. It's either going to be midterms are going to be rigged, and it's going to be obvious for everybody, and people will come to the streets. Hopefully they do, honestly. Either he institutes martial law and midterms just, I don't know, there won't be any elections at all. So something like that. So imagine how this will play into the gold price, how this will play into the lower dollar and the sell America trade. Imagine what is going to happen when Federal Reserve will remain incredibly dovish, even in the face of the rising inflation. And there is not a small but realistic risk and a possibility of him taking control, firing Lisa Cook, maybe killing her. I mean, that's how it is sometimes. That's what dictators do. If they don't get what they want, they will kill anything, anybody. They don't care. It's quite crystal clear how they act. Maybe killing her, maybe, I don't know, putting her in jail for God knows what. It doesn't matter. Blackmailing her, or anybody on the board, and taking complete control of the Federal Reserve and doing whatever he wants with and he likes with rates. And we know what he wants and he likes with rates. We know what he will try to do. And what really matters is not what is correct or right, or his subsequent reaction to the market reaction of him doing what he wants to do. He will try to get rates lower. So there is a risk that rates, once again, you look at this, market pricing in this is a June contract, market pricing in less than 50 basis points of cuts. When in reality, if he really takes control of the Federal Reserve, it's going to be more than 150. It's going to be 200. So it's real risk. I'm looking at this, I'm looking at gold, and I'm saying, Jesus, that looks scary, because gold is, I mean, as I've been saying, is going into another implied volatility blowout. But this is a regime change. Hopefully this is a regime change in gold, because once again, I've described where we are in a cycle, and it is really very hard to imagine that gold just really stops here and not does another 30% minimum this year. That gold is not up another 30% by the end of this year. Really hard to imagine that. Really hard to imagine that. On the other hand, I am very aware, and I understand how it might seem, because I've seen multiple times throughout my career that even the most strongest of trends can reverse on a dime. That you're sitting here and thinking, how can this not go up? How can this not go down? And then a week later, it breaks trend, and you're sitting there, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on? And then 2 weeks later, you see, oh, so that's why. So regardless of that, even the strongest of trends can reverse in a dime. So we need to adjust. We need to see that. We need to observe this very, very vigilantly. So yeah, gold is essentially doing gold things. Maybe it's gonna go for another blowout. Maybe we go into 5,000, nice round number, and then do the same thing here and consolidate. Maybe do the same thing. Essentially, these are two types of moves in the market. So in gold market right now, either it is a correction in price, as we've seen here, with the volatility blowout, and then volatility just coming out of the market, and then we slowly grind higher. Either we go up, consolidate for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and then do this as well. So you pick your poison. Either we're gonna stay around 5,000 for another 6 months, and then gonna do another 50% higher, or we're gonna go into 5,500, then gonna come down to 6,500, and then gonna go up slowly into 6,000, 7,000. So that's just how it is. So yeah, it is really hard to envision or that gold is gonna do something like this here. It is really hard to envision that we are nearing the end of the cycle. It may come, it may even come at the end of this year, maybe, but we shall see. Not the cycle, but the secular trend. So yeah, it's kind of scary, honestly, when the thing that usually moves like 0.5% or less than 0.5% on a day casually does like 2-3% moves on a daily basis in either direction, mostly up. Yeah, the volatility regime is completely different here. Yes, rates are doing rates things, irrelevant at this point. Nothing to say here. I didn't see a symmetry in playing these things on the either side, but I do see a symmetry once again as we describe playing IWM on the upside here, as we've been describing multiple times throughout this consolidation period, that we're going to get move higher. In oil, once again, XOM, Exxon is the thing to be played on the upside, as we said on this day. Nice expansion higher. Most likely will continue. I would take some chips off the table here. Oh, yeah, this thing is relevant for months and months to come on the upside. If you want to short this, yeah, maybe, but very, very irrelevant for the months to come. Months and months and months, maybe even year plus. Then I've set Dixie. So I think Dixie is still the most asymmetric play on the downside. Here, the trade of this year is being long euro, short Dixie, being long gold, still being long gold. I mean, since like years before, like since right here, we've been saying that it is the time, and it is the best thing on a dip to buy is gold. I mean, that's just how it is. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. So yeah, that's what I wanted to describe, and the most interesting thing is this thing is prime for expansion, and Dixie is prime for a massive repricing lower. After this prolonged consolidation that we've seen here, Dixie is very much primed for expanding lower from here. Yeah, that's what I wanted probably to say here.